If you want to thrive in work, life, and faith, and are wondering how other women are doing it, then this is for you. This is How She Does It, and I'm your host, Marva Smith. Today, I have with me a guest, Debi Markland, who is Chief Life Strategist at Landmark Life Strategy. She'll tell us all about that in a few minutes, but she is an international speaker, a trainer, a personal development coach, and wife, mom, all the things, Debi. I don't know how you do it. So I'm just very happy to have you here today.
I am so glad to be here, Marva. Thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to this time with you, and let's see where this goes, and we will find out how how I do it.
So, Debi, I know that we have known each other for many years now, and I have always been inspired by your example and just, the way that you care for your family, just how professional you are as a career woman. And really, I know that as a Christian as well, you allow God to lead your life. So when we talk about how she does it, I know in your case, it really goes back to your relationship with God. Would you tell us a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. It does. It does go back to my relationship with God, and it can only be that. When I think about all the different hats that I wear, which you just mentioned, I know that without God, it is absolutely impossible for me to juggle all the balls that I have up in the air. And sometimes, I do drop some of the balls, but with the Holy Spirit, I'm able to not drop the important ones. Putting God at the center and the core of all things, as the one where everything revolves around, has been really important to me. And it's taken me a long time, actually, in my spiritual walk to get to that point where, God is really at the center of it, where I'm not depending on my own strength, my own skill, my own knowledge, where I'm not depending on my own self for anything. And it took a while, and I'm still learning that. Even today, where I relinquish it all to Him, knowing that He is the one that is in full control. I start my day with God. I strive to remain with Him, and I try every single day to end with Him. So I'm not the one that's the fuel behind this engine, right? God is the fuel behind this engine. And also, Marv, I think having a great partner in my husband has been, I think that makes a world of difference in how I show up every day as well.
Yeah.
I know that not every woman has a partner, but wherever it is that we are, because I didn't always have a husband, I didn't always have a spiritual leader in my home. There were times that it was just me. I was single as a Christian, and I had to lead myself at the same time while following God. And so that's the basis of this. Understanding my place in the whole creation story, understanding where the role that God plays, and really keeping that in perspective every day it has been important and has been crucial in again how I show up in life every
Yes,
day.
exactly. And as you mentioned, just finding your space in the universe and understanding what that is. I know that you recently started a new program called Dare to Be You. And that you stands for something. Would you tell us more about the new program? It's coaching, it's mentoring. What are you really achieving through that program, and how is that going so far?
Wow, it's going really, really great. I kicked the program off with a conference. So we had a international virtual women's conference on my birthday on September 5th. And it was just really awesome seeing women from over 15 countries participating in this conference. And then we followed it up with 5 weeks. The program it's a 5-week program or a 4-week program, but it's a continuous program of cohort of women jumping in and really developing themselves, discovering who they are in Christ, discovering who God is, and then embracing all of who they are, warts and all, right? Boogers and all, I like to say, embracing all of that, and then unleashing it, not just to help themselves, but to help others that's in their vicinity, wherever they are in their own world, right? Using the intricacies of themselves to impact those around them. And so that's really understanding their belief system, understanding their mindset, being able to overcome past traumas, and using that, to propel them forward as a catalyst to really make the difference in this world. And so this program has been phenomenal. I've gotten so many amazing feedback from the women who have already gone through the first cohort. We're starting one again this Saturday, the 21st, here in November, and we're going to do a 4-week session with these women that are joining in. It's just been phenomenal. We look at the way that we see things, their perspective. We look at coming out of the comfort zone, because so many of us were in our own comfort zone. We also look at just problem solving, the way that you problem solve, using what you have, using all of the gifts that God has given us. And again, it's all fundamentally based on God, because without him, we can't do any of this, right? We can't do any of it at all. And so we have women from all walks of life, all profession. We have doctors, we have lawyers, we have the housewife, we have all kinds of women that are coming in and joining, even different age range in this program, that are using it to propel themselves forward in order to live out their true purpose here on earth. And that's what this is all about.
It seems like this is perfect timing as well, because as we're recording this, we're in this time of what I call the COVID era. COVID has hit, it's affected all over the world, really. And I believe that many of us are looking to rediscover ourselves and to rediscover our why. So the Dare to Be You program sounds like it's perfectly timed for such a time as this, because really we're trying to find ourselves all over again. Like, what's going on? Have you found that as well?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's so much that's going on. It's very challenging for all of us, not just women, of course, men as well. But I think for us, because we wear so many different hats, it can be very challenging. There's so much for us to look at and to be mindful of as we go through this time: our emotional health, our physical health, our spiritual health, our mental health. There's so much that we have to be intentional about mining. And of course, a lot of it goes back to our mindset, which is so important, right? Because a lot of us, we think that we have to do everything, right? Yeah. We're so out there trying to do everything for everyone. And a lot of times we leave ourselves last, to the point where we can get so busy doing so much, and it can impact us in a very adverse way. And when we are intentional about making sure that we're doing the things that God wants us to do, that when we are walking into our purpose, I would say, then we can have that, what I call harmony. Some people call it work-life balance. I call it harmony, because when I think of work, okay, yeah, that's like your profession, your job, your whatever it is that you do to sustain your life. But then it is in your life. It's not like the work is out and then you have a life over here. To me, it's your life includes all of this. So however it is that you show up in life, there needs to be balance. So whether it is you're being a stay-at-home mom, or you're a professional mom, or you have a calling in ministry, or whatever it is that you're doing, it's all a part of your life, and there needs to be balance in all of it. You know,
Mhm.
Marva, I have 4 teenagers in my house. Pray for me, girl. 4 teenagers, and 3 of which are mine. I have a set of twins, and then my oldest, and then I have my nephew. That we are responsible for 4 human beings under this same roof, and it's challenging, right? And then, of course, running a business and leading a ministry, all of that can take a toll on one. And so it's so important. And one of the things I say I have an ebook on Amazon that's called How to Perfect the Art of Saying No. And a lot of times as women, we go through life just yesing our way through life. And we can lose ourselves in all of that. And that's why it's so important that we understand who we are, whose we are, and what it is that we're here to do. Because if we're so busy doing what everybody expects for us to do, it can be very challenging to be about the purpose, the true purpose. Like God uh, tells us that we're a masterpiece in Ephesians 2:10, that we were created to do great things. I mean, He had already have a work for us to do before we even took our first breath. But if we're so busy doing everything else that everybody else expects for us to do, we can truly lose our way and lose our purpose. And it will be very, very challenging for us to truly unleash the unique part of us. That's again, all of the challenges that we have in life, all of the experiences that we've had, all the different things that make us uniquely who we are. And if we're unable to truly hone that part of us that God has truly put here on this earth for that unique reason, we can miss out on why we're here. You know,
Yeah.
and I mean, I have it that we're here on assignment, Marva. We're all here on assignment.
Yeah.
And if we do not do the assignment that we were given to do, nobody else is going to do it. I totally believe that with all my heart.
Yeah.
Really do.
Well, as you say that, you bring up an important point, because for us as women, we sometimes get overwhelmed by all the responsibilities and all the things that we are called to do and our own expectations as well. But then, as you mentioned, we have a unique assignment. Can we miss out on that assignment? Can we just get sidetracked? Or is it that we're meant to do this and we're always going to find our way? What do you think about that?
I think that we can get sidetracked. And I mean, I believe that it's easy to get sidetracked as well. There's so much that's vying for our attention, so much. And with all the different things vying for our attention, when we lose sight of, why we're here, or even not even know specifically what our unique assignment is on this earth, we can lose our way. But the good thing is that we can find our way also. Just as easily as we can lose our way, we can find our way back on track to where it is that that God wants us to be. And I just dare you, I dare each and every one of you to be you. I dare you. And I mean, it is a daunting calling, as I would say. It's daunting. But if we can be who we are created to be, we can certainly have all of that God wants us to have, right? We can certainly do that. And we can do what it is that He wants us to do. But it starts with the being, right? I really believe that. I say that we're human beings, we're not human doing. So we've got to be first before we can do, so that we can have. I really and truly believe that wholeheartedly.
Well, I know that I tend to get caught up in, okay, yes, I'm being and I'm doing, and I feel like I'm in my space and in my track. But then you look at somebody else and you're like, look at what Debbie is doing, or look at what this one is doing. How do we avoid that, Debbie? How do we avoid that comparison trap?
Yeah, it's so easy, Marva. I've fallen into it many times, and I'm telling you, once you, it's almost like a net. You're walking, all of a sudden you fall, you drop down into it. You know, like caught like an animal, captured, and it's easy for us to be caught into the comparison trap. I think the thing that I've learned over the years, and again, I'm still learning. I'm one of those people. I'm a student and I'm a teacher. And I'm constantly learning, and everything that I'm learning, I want to teach to other people. So as we are going into this life every day, I say that we enter life every day. When we wake up, we enter a new day, never before lived day, a day that nobody can say, I've already been there. No one has gone through this day before us. We're all going through this day together. However, the thing that I've found to avoid the comparison trap is to look at myself as the gauge, right? And then use the Bible as the filter. And so when I look at myself as the gauge, and what I mean by that is the person that I need to compare myself to is me. And to see in this new day, how can I be better than I was yesterday? Can I just increase my betterness, if that's even a word? Just 1% from how I was yesterday, just 1%. If I can just better myself, just 1%, that is what to use as the gauge instead of using somebody else. Because here's the thing, there will always be somebody that's doing more than us, doing different than us, doing worse than us, you know, however you want to categorize it, there will always be. And we will find that we can compare ourselves to somebody that we're doing better than, that we're doing more than, right? But that's not the gauge. The gauge is yourself. You're the one that you need to compare yourself to. And you know, I say all the time, Marva, that I have to learn to be kind to myself. I have to learn to show compassion to myself. I have to learn to show empathy to myself. You know, and when I look at myself and use the Bible as a sift, you know, okay, what is it that I need to throw out? What is it I need to leave in? What is it that's going to work for me to help me to be more of who God wants me to be, not more of who somebody else wants or somebody else thinks, but me. The expectation for my life needs to come from the Word of God, from God Himself, and not really from others, right? We again, when we do that, when we fall into that, it's a horrible place to be. It is really horrible. It wreaks havoc on our mental state of mind. It wreaks havoc on our emotional state of mind. It really does. At the same time, when we are spiritually sound, I feel that that is the source or the foundation, so to speak, to help us to not really fall into that trap. Really, when we know who we are, what is it that God says about us? Because when we compare ourselves, we start looking at what other people say or what other people think. But when we can look and see what the I am say about us and really grow into our I amness, right? Grow into our I amness. I do a whole session on I am, you know, and in the program there's a whole session on that, because we can lose sight of our I amness, especially when we are looking at other sources and not the ultimate source, the infinite source, you know, of our creation.
Yeah, I love that, Debbie, because you know, if you compare to someone else, you'll either come up short or you'll start thinking that, well, I'm doing pretty good, you know, so there's that false estimate of self as well. But really the true source is what we need to go back to. I know you mentioned that you've gained this wisdom over the years and you're continuing to learn. If you were to think about your former self, you as a 20-year-old Debbie, what would you tell her that you wish you knew back then?
Oh, I love that. I'm always talking to my younger self, by the way. I'm always telling her things. What I would say to the younger me, and I write in my journal, Dear Younger Me, dear little Debbie. That's what I if you can remember the little Debbie desserts. I don't know if you grew up on that, or maybe I'm aging myself. I have not seen those. I don't know if they still make little Debbie pies, but I love those growing up. And I say to my little Debbie self, you know what? God is in control. You don't have to know the answer to everything, and you don't have to even know how. You don't have to know the how for everything. All you need to know is that one next step. And the Bible tells us that God orders the step of the righteous. He didn't say that he showed you the whole staircase, right? He didn't say that. And so I would tell myself, and I tell my little self all the time, God orders your step. So all you need to know is the next step. That's it. You just need to know what the next step is that God is ordering. And he is like that, right? He's in control of it all. You don't have to be in control. So put your trust and faith in him. There's a lot of fears that little Debbie had, just a lot of fears. And so I would say to her, walk in your faith. Walk in your faith, not in your fear. And fear is going to be, it's a constant companion. It's just a constant companion. It's going to always be there. I would tell her also, get out of the bed. Get out of bed. Don't lay in bed. Don't blame. That's what we can do. We can blame everyone and everything for things. Don't make excuses. There's always going to be an excuse. If you're looking for one, you're going to find it. And don't stay in denial. You know what? Just acknowledge what is. Get out of bed. So that's what I would tell her. And I tell her often, you got this. You just need to know the reason why you got this is because God is in you. You know what I'm saying? She doesn't have it because of her own self. You've got it, Debbie, because God is in you. So trust him, hold on to his hand, get out of bed, and just keep walking one step at a time. Just move forward one step at a time.
I think I'm going to start telling myself, get out of bed, Marva. I love that. Yeah, I mean, such great nuggets, Debbie, such great nuggets that we can tell ourselves today, to just really be able to move forward, knowing that God is in us. Yeah. I think that's an important point that I'm going to be taking away from this conversation. But for the women who feel like they, haven't really achieved what they wanted to achieve in life, or they're trying to do all the things and really just all the balls are spinning and they're not really able to keep, everything going, what do you say to them? Because it can feel really discouraging to be in that space.
It certainly can. It really can. So, I mentioned that I have 4 teenagers. What I didn't mention is that I have special needs kids, right? I have a son with autism, and he also has sickle cell disease. I have a daughter who's physically disabled, so she's in a wheelchair. And our oldest is adopted and has her own set of mental issues that comes along with adoption. And then, of course, my nephew who lives with us is he's motherless. His mom passed away from cancer. So, in life, we go through all kinds of things. We have a plate that is filled with a whole bunch of stuff. And sometimes you feel like that plate is so full. It's so full, it can't hold anything else. And so what I say to women who have all kinds of things going on in life, I say, ask God for a bigger plate. Ask God for a bigger plate and know that everything that's on that plate, God is not going to give you more than you can bear. And be kind to yourself. As long as there's breath, as long as you're breathing, you can still go after that goal. Go after, and again, I think the most important thing is that sometimes we need to test the goals that we have for ourselves, because sometimes our goals are really not even in line with what God has for us at the time. Doesn't mean that it's never going to happen, right? Again, with all the balls that I'm juggling, with all the stuff that's on my plate, I have been in situations in my own mind where I said, gosh, I wish I was doing this already. I wish I was doing that already. And I have to realize, okay, I have 4 kids. I have, I have a job. I have a business. I have, all these different things going on. So really be kind to yourself. And instead of listening to that inner critic, because that's what it is, there's an inner critic inside of us that's always tearing us down, or trying to anyway. Listen to the inner coach inside of you, right? Look for the things that that you have accomplished, and those things will help you to move forward. That will encourage you. That will give you the momentum to move forward. But how do you eat an elephant? Because we as women, we are very ambitious. I think that we can be very ambitious. And I think of ambition as like this big elephant, right? Where we don't eat the whole elephant one bite in one. We don't just put the whole elephant in our mouth and swallow it. We eat the whole elephant one bite at a time. And so maybe it is, this month you get one thing done. I know that, like, and Marva, you can relate to this, and even I think verify what I'm saying. I wanted to send out emails. I wanted to be consistent in reaching out to the people in my tribe, and I wasn't doing that. And I think I was beating myself up for a while. And then I said, okay, well, just do what you can do. Just get that done. And so 5 days a week now, I send out my word to inspire. And it's just words that I've said in my coaching sessions or my mentoring sessions. And so I can say to myself, look, you did that and you weren't doing it before. So I encourage myself. It says that David encouraged himself in the Lord. Sometimes you might not have somebody to encourage you. Encourage yourself. Just look for something that you have done. The first thing that I do also, Marva, in the morning when I wake up and get out of my bed, literally, I make my bed up, right? So that I can say that I accomplished something in the morning. My husband is always out of bed before me. He is a morning person. He gets like 5 o'clock, will not meet him in the bed. He's out of bed. So when I get up, I can make my bed up. Literally, I can make it up. And when I make my bed up, before I actually put my foot on the ground, I say, thank you, God, for waking me up, for giving me this brand new day. And then I make my bed up. And after I make my bed up, I said, I accomplished something today. Satan, the enemy, you can't say that I didn't do anything today. I did something today. My bed is made up. So after that, I can move on and get something else done. And we don't pat ourselves on the back as women. We put ourselves down so much. Pat yourself on the back sometimes. Say, you know what? I did this morning. After I'm done with this session with you, I'm going to pat myself on the back. Hey, I got this done today. I got this done. Right? So at least I can say I did something. We are so quick to say, I didn't do this. I didn't get that done. Look, I haven't reached this goal as yet. At this stage in my life, I should be here. I should be there. We do that to ourselves, right? And we put ourselves down. How about doing something different? How about encouraging yourself for something that you've done today? Maybe it was today you didn't go off the handle when your teenager didn't do what they were supposed to do. Maybe you just say, you know what? I love you. That's something you did that maybe you wouldn't have done before, right? And maybe you made that phone call to that prospect that you've been meaning to call for weeks, but you did that today. So pat yourself on the back. Whether they answer the phone or not, whether they gave you the response that you were looking for or not, you did that, right? So we've got to be kind to ourselves. Yeah, sometimes we need a kick in the butt. And I don't know if you're flexible, like I mean, I can kick myself, literally. I can kick myself in the butt. And sometimes I do when I'm running, I'm like, I kick myself. And sometimes we need somebody else to kick us in the butt, which is why we sometimes need a coach or a mentor to come alongside us to do that, because sometimes our muscles don't allow us to do that. You might be able to pat yourself on the back because your hands allow you to go back there, but maybe your foot doesn't go all the way up to kick yourself in the butt. It might not be long enough, or it just doesn't bend that far. So you need a mentor and a coach to come alongside you who is not going to be in agreement, who is not going to subscribe to your disbelief and your limiting belief of yourself. They just won't do that. They will not come into agreement with you. And that's what I tell my clients. I'm like, I'm not going to subscribe to that. I can see that you subscribe to it. And I would, I would encourage and ask you to consider what life would be like if you were to not subscribe to that. But I will not come into agreement with that with you. Because here it is. All the things that we go through in life is really based on BS. And I'm talking about our belief system, right? Our belief system, it all goes back to that. That is why, the Apostle Paul talks about whatever is pure, whatever is noble, whatever is true, think on these things, and conform, your mind to God. Don't transform your mind to what the word says and not conform to what the world says or what that inner critic says or what other people say. It is amazing how much we can get done when we can truly encourage ourselves, right? Because it doesn't do any good to beat yourself up about what you haven't done, where you haven't gotten all these different kind of things. And a lot of these things that we're gauging ourselves on is not even based on us. It's based on the world. It's based on what other people are saying, that you should be doing this by this time in your life. You should be, who says? Wherever you are right now in life, thank God that you're there. And then take an assessment of what is the next best thing that you can do for yourself to move you closer towards that goal. But of course, you got to make sure that that goal is in line with what God has for you, right? That ambition is in line with God's ambition, not just your own. Because it's easy for us to have selfish ambition. But when we have our purpose lined up with God and in alignment with Him, He starts using us as a magnet. And we start attracting all the resources, the tools, and everything that we need starts coming to us. But be kind to yourself. Show empathy to yourself.
Well, if you needed some motivation, you just got it. Debi, that was awesome. I needed to hear that. And I'm pretty sure that somebody listening and watching this needed it as well. So I just have one last question for you, Debi. How can people get in touch with you? If they want to continue this conversation, how can they do that?
And I would love to continue the conversation because, as you can tell, I have the gift of gab. I love to talk. Certainly, if you want to get a hold of me, you can reach me at debimarkland.com, and it's DEBI. And I'm also accessible at debimarkland.com is my website. I'm on Facebook. You can look for Debi Markland Speaks. That's where I am. I would love to continue this conversation. Would love to have some folks join me and come on this journey with me in the Dare to Be You program, which is again a continuous thing. We either do 5 weeks or 4 weeks, depending on what's going on. And it's a great group of women, community that's just wanting to grow and not just grow to better themselves, but to make the difference in this world. Because I do believe that whatever it is that we go through, good or bad, whatever meaning we put to things, it is not just for us. It is for us to complete the assignment that we're here on earth to complete.
Awesome. Well, Debi, this was a pleasure for me. I feel inspired and motivated to get out of bed and do the work that God has called me to do. And I'm just really grateful for this time that we've had to chat and to share this conversation with others as well. So thank you, Debi.
And thank you. Thank you for having me. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank
you keep making the difference, Marva. Thank you so much.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.